Good Thursday morning, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by the Family Forest Carbon Program, where we help family forest owners get paid to improve the health of their woods. Under partly cloudy skies, I've got 48 degrees on the barn thermometer. Yesterday afternoon, I did some field scouting through the truck window around a 6-county area and noticed some very saturated fields. Depending on where you're at, it could take several days of good drying conditions before that soil's fit to resume planting. This quick calendar reminder, you can celebrate the 38th Annual Armed Forces Day with the Findlay Military Association, May 15th through the 18th. This will take place at the Hancock County Fairgrounds. Ride a Huey helicopter, watch reenactment performances, check out military vehicles from all the eras, and more. Visit www.findlaymilitarishow.org for a full schedule of events, sponsored by Ohio Logistics. Let's check in now with Brianna Smith as she has this week's update from the Ohio Soybean Council.
Joining me is Laura Lindsay. She's a soybean specialist with Ohio State University Extension, and she's here to give an update on the Battle of the Belt. In the third year of this research study, what does the future look like, or what are the next steps?
Sure. So we'll be wrapping up our final year of Battle for the Belt this year. But one thing we noticed in this study is that when we plant really early, we have low plant populations. So when we planted in March last year in Western Ohio, our plant populations went down to about 45,000 to 50,000 plants per acre, but yielded numerically the same as our May planting dates. It still achieved about 74 bushels per acre. So this got us thinking about replant recommendations. What do we know about replant recommendations? And for soybean, there's not been any study that I'm aware of recently in Ohio looking at replant recommendations for soybean. The corn recommendations are coming from Illinois, and they were done in the 1990s. And with newer genetics, those need to be reevaluated. So we have a new project this year called Battle for the Belt 2.0 is what we're calling it. And it's to look at, again, planting dates, and we have corn and soybean side by side, but we're going to look at developing new replant recommendations for both crops.
And today's update brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff. The Ohio Corn and Wheat Growers Association is excited to announce their 2025 scholarship recipients. Each year they will invest $15,000 in scholarships supporting students advancing their education and furthering the agriculture industry. Now, this year's recipients include Morgan Anderson, who's currently a student at Ohio University, Brooklyn Baldwin, graduating from McLean High School, Sydney Biting, graduating from East Clinton High School, Caitlin Cottrell, graduating from Miami Trace, Marguerite Fulton, who's graduating from Fort Fry, Lexi Heidelbaugh, currently a student at Tiffin University, Sarah Hoke, who's a student at The Ohio State University, Arthur Hollenbach, who's a student graduating from CTEC of Licking County, Kaylee Jennings, who's currently at Oklahoma State University, Tyler Kuntz, who's a student at Waynesburg University, Logan Reeker up at Northwest State Community College, Gracie Sprague, who's at OSU ATI, and Caitlin Wincoop, a graduating senior at Bloom Carroll High School. Congratulations to all the recipients. And to learn more, visit ohiocornandwheat.org. Let's get a look now at your Thursday morning weather forecast brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com.
Some clouds around here as we move through your Thursday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. A quick forecast update here in Ohio. What we're dealing with today is the remains of a weather system trying to die out over the Missouri and Ohio valleys. That is going to throw some clouds into the Buckeye State today. Precipitation, I think we also have to watch for this midday and afternoon, mostly in western parts of the state and then the far south. I think the rest of us are going to escape mostly dry here. So a little bit of a shift in the moisture pattern for this area. We get back to sunny, warm, and dry weather for tomorrow. Looking at a beautiful finish to the week for your Friday. High pressure setting up over the Great Lakes on Saturday gives us sunshine all the way through the weekend. We'll keep the sunny, warm, dry pattern in for the start of next week as well on Monday. Overnight, Monday night into Tuesday, watch for some clouds to try and develop. And we're seeing some moisture come with a system down near the Gulf Coast, shifting northward. So I think I'm going to have to allow for some hit and miss scattered showers after sunset Monday night through Tuesday morning to midday. Moisture is going to be light, a few hundreds to a few tenths, but I think we could see coverage around 60 to 70% of the state. After that, we're back to dry weather for Wednesday, maybe some lingering clouds, but dry. Thursday, dry, and to finish the week, Friday into Saturday, hit and miss scattered showers with a better chance of strong thunderstorms and showers Sunday through Monday and Tuesday of the following week. That's the way your forecast is stacking up. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more after this.
Get ready to start bidding on a massive variety of heavy equipment and vehicles in the Ritchie Brothers Great Lakes Regional event happening May 14th and 15th. More than 3,700 items will cross the auction block during a one-of-a-kind sale, including everything from truck tractors, van trucks, and trailers to excavators, scrapers, and equipment for construction and landscaping. Registration for this unique unreserved auction is entirely free and open to the public. Visit rbauction.com to learn more. Again, that's rbauction.com.
This quick reminder from Ohio Farm Bureau, the AgriPower Leadership Advocacy Program applications are now open. Now in 2025, Ohio Farm Bureau Federation will select individuals to participate in AgriPower Class 16. That's a leadership and advocacy development program, which will consist of 7 multi-day institutes. There's 18 total days. AgriPower is a program of the Ohio Farm Bureau and designed for farmers and agribusiness professionals. Now, AgriPower educates, empowers, and connects Ohio's agriculture's rising leaders in every sector through a 12-month cohort-based program. Class members will be able to leverage strengths to maximize individual influence and leadership opportunities, communicate effectively with stakeholders, consumers, and policymakers, explain the current issues in food, agriculture, and the environment, outline the legislative process at the state and federal levels, and create strong personal networks within and beyond Ohio agriculture. Now, through personal development workshops, issue expert speakers, industry tours, and a class project, AgriPower Class 16 will be equipped to positively impact the industry and community. 2 of the Institute sessions will be held out of state, one of those in Washington, D.C., and the other still to be determined, to help class members gain a valuable understanding of national and global issues. Now, individuals may nominate themselves or have their nominations sponsored by their respective county farm bureau, other ag organization, or employers, and applications must be submitted by August the 1st. Now, for complete application details, the schedule of sessions, and more information about the program, tuition, and scholarship opportunities, visit ofbf.org/agripower. Taking a look at your agricultural headlines, 3 fertilizers had an extensive price increase compared to a month ago. Leading the way higher was UAN 32. That liquid nitrogen fertilizer saw an increase of 12% compared to last month and had an average retail price of $474 a ton. Now, UAN 28 was 7% more expensive than last month, while urea was 6% higher. UAN 28 had an average price of $387 a ton, while urea came in at $596 per ton. The remaining 5 fertilizers that are tracked had slightly higher prices. DAP had an average price of $785 a ton, while MAP came in at $824 a ton. Potash was $472 a ton. Tin 3040 was $666 a ton, and rounding it out, anhydrous ammonia came in at $787 per ton. If you break all that down on a price per pound unit nitrogen basis, the average urea price was 65 cents per pound unit nitrogen. Anhydrous ammonia was 48 cents a pound. UAN 28 was 69 cents per pound, and UAN 32 74 cents per pound unit nitrogen. 5 fertilizers are now higher in price compared to where they were a year ago. DAP is up 1%, urea is 2% more expensive, Tin 3040 is 4% higher than last year, UAN 28 is 6% higher, and UAN 32 is 13% higher looking back to 1 year ago. The remaining 3 fertilizers are lower. Both MAP and anhydrous are 1% less expensive, while potash is 8% lower compared to where it was a year ago. Now, last week, the Fertilizer Institute released its list of the 2025-26 public policy priorities for working with the Trump administration, regulatory agencies, and Congress. The Fertilizer Institute's priorities are broken down into 8 key areas, including tax and trade, energy and economic growth, environment, transportation, permitting, registration and designations, safety and security, innovation, and Farm Bill reauthorization. Now, with the 119th Congress underway, we've hit the ground running and are advocating for strong policies that not only ensure the fertilizer industry is able to continue feeding the world sustainably, but also support the farmers who grow our nation's crops. The Fertilizer Institute president and CEO Corey Rosenbusch said in a press release, "We've had tremendous success in having the critical role fertilizer plays in our nation's security recognized, and we look forward to continuing our engagement with the administration and Congress. Strengthening the domestic fertilizer industry and pushing for policies that promote grower adoption of nutrient stewardship practices are not the only priorities of the Fertilizer Institute. Transportation and infrastructure are also big issues for the group. Food security is national security, and fertilizer availability is paramount to keeping us all fed, according to that release. Well, in other agricultural news, the application process for the Disaster Assistance Tranche of USDA's Emergency Commodity Assistance Program is soon coming, according to Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins.
On the disaster relief part of it, which is the additional $20 billion, in the coming weeks, by the end of May, that portal will open also.
Applications for Phase 1 of the Emergency Commodity Assistance Program continues to be received through August 15th, with up to $10 billion in payments scheduled for producers impacted by increased input costs and falling commodity prices for crop year 2024. Secretary Rollins acknowledged more time needed to craft the disaster assistance component of ECAP and its application process.
That's a little more complicated because we don't have the specifics, and this is a long time coming, and it's related to disasters that happened a while ago.
The Farm Service Agency administers ECAP. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
And thanks, Rod. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at your markets after this.
Attention construction pros. Purple Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and seller contact info. Inspect online or in person. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals, your next great purchase awaits. purplewave.com.
Let's take a look at what's impacting our markets. Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Phone 574-566-2113 for information on soybean marketing to LDC. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished mostly lower on Wednesday. It was an up and down trading session by far. We had a good rally to start the session coming out of the overnight Tuesday night through the daytime hours, or at least the early morning hours on Wednesday. However, that was all based on a U.S.-China trade deal hopefulness and all of that. That was underpinning the move up, and then that rally failed. Why? Future tariff uncertainty. Lots of headlines coming out. President Trump saying he's not backing away from the 145% tariffs. Maybe there can be some exceptions. And it just led to a lot of choppiness, pulling back off of those highs early. And then by the end of the day, corn was trading fractionally lower on new crop, down about 5 to 7 on old crop. Beans were down anywhere from 2 to 5 on old crop. New crop still held on to slightly positive numbers. Meal was slightly positive, but the oil share was down big. And then the wheat market's definitely falling apart here overall as well. Big time liquidation was in the soy oil complex because of the biofuel margins being barely positive to flat, and there's no clarity going forward from EPA on the future of U.S. biofuel subsidies. There's a growing concern that congressional leadership will be required before the Trump administration blesses a total biofuel tax credit program. So it's going to be touch and go on when that comes together. Now, we're also looking forward to other issues in the marketplace. Let's talk biofuels on the corn side. 300 million gallons of ethanol produced last week, according to the EIA, down 6 million gallons from the week prior, up 6% from last year. The grind decreases seasonally from now through or into July. We'll see how much of this grind includes something other than corn, like maybe sorghum or anything else due to cheaper pricing. At this point, still talking about the WASDE probably increasing corn demand on exports, but not on the annual corn grind for ethanol. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Let's take a look at how your markets closed, brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance, online at seedconsultants.com. Well, July corn closed down 6 1/4 cents, and December corn was down 1/2 penny. July soybeans closed down 2 cents, while November soybeans were up 2 3/4. And July Kansas City wheat closed down 8 1/2 cents. July Chicago wheat was down 1 3/4, and July Minneapolis wheat closed down 7 3/4 cents. Now in the overnight trade, July corn is trading up 1/4 penny at $4.49 1/2 cents. December new crop corn is up 1/4 penny at $4.41. July soybeans trading up 1/2 penny at $10.39 3/4 cents, with November new crop beans up 1/4 penny at $10.22 1/4, and wheat for July trading 1/4 penny higher, $5.34 1/2 cents. On the livestock side, June live cattle ended the day down $1.15 at $212.52.5. Maline hogs closed down 40 cents at $91.15, and feeder cattle for August were down 60 cents at $298.60. Thanks for joining us. This is the Ohio AgNet.